Yo, what's going on? This is the Too Tall Sports Podcast. Thank you for joining me for our weekly episode. Appreciate you being with me today. Got a huge guest, which we will get to in a second. He is Mike Martz, and you may know him if you remember the greatest show on turf with the St. Louis Rams back then in the 99 season. Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce. Mike Martz was the offensive coordinator and one of the architects of the greatest show on turf when the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl. He is my guest today. So huge guest. Stick around for that interview. I got to give you my 2 cents, though. So let me start with a few things that I want to hit, and then we'll get to Mike Martz. I want to talk about the NBA 75th anniversary list. I'll kick it off with that. Maybe a little Dodgers recap, some NFL stuff, of course, because we got an NFL coach coming up, and then my World Series preview and my prediction for the series. Let's start with the NBA. So last week, the NBA just dropped its 75th anniversary list, talking about the 75 greatest NBA players who ever played in the league. And of course, with every list, there's a lot of controversy and a lot of people that got snubbed. Well, you can't get them all in there. There's tons of players that have come through the league over the last 75 years. How can you fit them all? The hard part is the current players that are playing right now that are worthy and have the accolades to possibly be on. So most people think the biggest snub was Dwight Howard, and I totally agree. Dwight deserves to be on this list. And the comp for him, for someone that did make it, was Anthony Davis, who I do like. He is a Laker. He's a great player, often hurt, and lots of times he's falling down, which I still don't understand. But great player when he's right, just when he's healthy. But let me give you Anthony Davis's resume first, and then I'll give you Dwight's resume. So AD made the list with this resume. 8-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 4-time All-Defensive Player, 3-time block leader, NBA champion, 13,000 points so far, 6,000 rebounds, 1,000 blocks. That's AD's resume. It's good, but I don't think it's great yet. I think it's too soon to put him in. Here's Dwight's resume. 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA to AD's 4, 5-time All-Defense to AD's 4, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. AD has 0. 5-time rebound leader. AD has 0 years where he led the league in rebounds. 2-time block leader. AD does have 3. Here's Dwight's numbers. 19,000 points, 14,000 rebounds, 2,000 blocks. So he's basically doubled him up in blocks and more than doubled him up in rebounds. And you're telling me that doesn't make the 75 list? Now, a lot of people can have opinions on Dwight, and trust me, he pisses me off too. He's bounced around since he left Orlando, and it just hasn't been good. But he did get to a finals that prevented LeBron and Kobe from facing each other in that 2009 finals. If you remember, the Magic and the Lakers played each other, and then the Lakers went on to win back-to-back championships. However, Dwight got that team there. So before Dwight started with all of his antics, he was a hell of a player and still has come up with huge numbers over the years. He got his championship. He totally deserves to be on this list. I think it's too soon for Anthony Davis. Not saying he's not going to make it, but maybe we can talk about the 100-year anniversary, and AD will probably be in that list. But Dwight got snubbed. Other names that popped up that were possible snubs were Klay Thompson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, who I believe should be in. Now, Vince known for being a dunker and the best dunker, by the way. But I think Vince Carter should be in because he's 19th all time right now in scoring. How can you pass on a guy that's top 20 in scoring all time? Yes, he played forever, but you can make that argument for LeBron James, who's going to play next year probably in his 20th season. When you play for a long time, you accumulate numbers. So Vince Carter should be in. Kyrie, I don't know if he's better than Jason Kidd, better than Gary Payton, better than Russell Westbrook, better than Chris Paul. Is he better at Steve Nash? Is he better than all these guys? Does he have better handles and dribbling ability than those guys? Probably he does. But does he have the accolades over those dudes? Probably not. So I'm okay with Kyrie not being on this list. A lot of people are upset that Damian Lillard made it. I understand that. You got guys, like I mentioned, Westbrook, Harden made it, and Paul Pierce made it, was another iffy one. I'd say if I had to take a few people off, I would take Dame Lillard off, who's a hell of a player. But this is the top 75 of all time. Hasn't won a championship, hasn't won an MVP. He's been hidden in Portland his whole career. I don't think Dame should be on this list ahead of maybe Klay Thompson or Tracy McGrady or Dwight for that matter, and Vince. Other names that were notable that were thrown around: Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker from the Spurs dynasty, all potential to make the list. Pau Gasol, great player, 2-time champion. You could argue he could be in there, but is he, again, with Pau Gasol in the power forward conversation? You're not taking Tim Duncan out. You're not taking Kevin Garnett out. You got power forwards that are Moses Malone. You got big time names that are on this list that you just can't take out. So anyway, fun debate. I'm going to talk about this more, I believe, next week on my podcast or the week after with one of my sports podcasting colleagues, you could say, coming up. So we'll talk more about that. But I think it's a fun topic. I did some videos about it on my Instagram at Too Tall Sports Podcast. Follow me there to get my video stuff on that. But it's a hell of a debate, and lots of old guys made the list. And for those of you that remember Bill Sharman and Dave Cowens and guys like that, our generation never got to see them play. So it's hard to say, Wes Unseld. You got like these guys that they were on throwback jerseys. And if you're, 50 and younger or 45 and younger, we didn't get to see these guys play. So hard to say. But that's the NBA 75. Obviously, there's lots of controversy, but the big one to me was Dwight, who deserves to be on the list. I don't think AD should be on the list right now. Real quick Dodgers recap. Look, I think it's classic overmanagement, like what usually happens with the Dodgers and their front office. I don't know if it's Dave Roberts. I don't know if it's Andrew Friedman. I don't know if it's the analytics department. I don't know what it is, but obviously overusing Julio Urias as a starter and then a reliever and then try to have him start again. You can't expect a starter who pitched way more innings than he ever has in his career. He won 20 games this year, okay? Only person in the National League to win 20 games this year as a starting pitcher. And you think you can just throw him in because last year he was more of a reliever during the World Series and he was the hero in the 2020 World Series. You can't just throw in a guy that is completely worn down in the 8th inning of a crucial game and expect him in a high leverage moment to have his best stuff. Starters need time to get into and settle into the game. Relievers, it's a different mindset. Your hair is on fire as soon as you walk in on the mound. And as soon as you come in the game, you get 8 to 10 pitches, boom, you're ready to go. Starters have more time to settle in, and they're going to have hopefully 4, 5, 6, 7 innings to get settled. I don't think what they did to Urias was right. Obviously, Scherzer broke down at the end of the year. He had dead arm. I mean, the Dodgers had a phenomenal bullpen this year, which they usually don't have, but they had it this year. And Kenley Jansen was good. All the stuff was working in the bullpen. Trinan, Joe Kelly, Brusdar Gratterall. I mean, all these dudes, Vesia. They had all these relievers that were really good this year. And Dave Roberts went back to Old Faithful, which is what he used to do to Clayton Kershaw. I love him so much. I'm going to put him in the high leverage moment. And it's just not their role. So I'm unhappy with the way the game was managed. But look, the Braves are hot and they're doing great. So you really can't. What are you going to do? They hit better than we hit. That's just the bottom line. So kudos to the Braves. I'll leave the NLCS there. Obviously, big series. And I guess I'll just continue on that. I am watching game 1 right now as we speak. It's on the television in the other room. So the Braves jumped out to a huge early 5-0 lead after 3 innings. So my pick, I'll just tell you this without bias, before the series started, I thought Houston's offense was too good. They have home field advantage. I think the Astros are going to win in 6 or 7. That was my prediction before this game. So even if the Braves win game 1, they steal 1. I still think the Astros, I don't want them to win. Trust me. I hope the world is rooting against the Astros because there's plenty of cheaters still left on those teams, especially the high impact guys that were on that 2017 Cheaters World Series team. I'm rooting for the Braves. Even though they beat the Dodgers, I'm rooting for the Braves. They got a lot of good guys. They got a lot of cool stories. I had Tyler Matzik on my podcast about a year ago. Check out that episode. He's one of the high leverage relievers that they have on the Braves. Really cool guy from my area in Orange County. So I had go check out the Tyler Matzik episode about a year ago, season 1, I think it was still. But anyway, looking forward to a great series. Hope the Braves win. That's what I can tell you on that. Quick football notes. Miami's really bad, in case you didn't know. Still think Miami's in on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, along with Carolina. My God, what happened to Sam Darnold? Started out the year 3-0, and now they've lost 4 straight, and he got benched last week for a guy that was in the XFL a couple years ago as a quarterback replacement. Don't know what's going on with Darnold. Maybe he's not as good as we thought. I don't know. I thought after the 3-0 start, here comes Sam Darnold, the real Sam Darnold. But the real Sam Darnold is sitting on the bench right now. So, yeah, I think Miami and Carolina NFL trade deadline is next week. So about a week away. So we'll see what happens there with Deshaun Watson. If he moves or if any of these other quarterbacks move, we'll see. Quick side note. I don't know what's going on with Patrick Mahomes. He's leading the league in turnovers right now. I don't get it. I don't understand why he's having to do too much and overcome the defensive woes of Kansas City. They're one of the worst defenses by far in the league. Funny stat that happened over the weekend. Derrick Henry, the running back for the Titans, threw a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, did not throw a touchdown. Yeah, things are not looking good in Kansas City right now. They're still 3-4. They're still alive. They're looking up at Oakland and the Chargers, but I'm sorry, not Oakland, Las Vegas and the Chargers. But man, I don't know what's going on with Kansas City. They got to fix their stuff right now. Tennessee's looking good. They're hitting their stride. They beat Buffalo. They beat Kansas City. So Tennessee's looking pretty good. I think that might be it. A funny game of the weekend was definitely watching Jared Goff return to LA against the Rams. That was fun watching Stafford and against his former team. I mean, clearly the Lions, that was funny to watch them empty their entire playbook. That was awesome. 2 fake punts, an onside kick early. I mean, they were outplaying the Rams for the first 2.5, 3 quarters. And then the Rams remembered who they were. And the Lions, of course, remembered that they're a winless team and remembered who they were. So anyways, fun weekend of football. Look forward to the World Series. Lots of surprise NBA teams right now. Bulls, Warriors, Hornets. Where are the Bulls and Hornets coming from? Anyway, weird to see the Ball brothers, Lonzo leading the Bulls, or at least one of the factors. And then, of course, LaMelo Ball, biggest surprise in the NBA the last couple of years, I think, coming out of the draft, leading the Hornets. So far, they're undefeated. But we'll see how the season goes. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be previewing some of those teams and more basketball takes as we get into the season. But we got a football guest today. So let's get to that right after my message from Vegas Sports Advantage, and look forward to my interview with Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator and also head coach Mike Martz.